Okay guys, before we start the video, just quickly, 1STMAN is so much more than just a YouTube channel. We've got digital products, we've got physical products. The digital products include courses, books, ebooks, etc. And the physical products is everything from supplements to clothing to grooming products to the paperback physical copy of our book. So the two links will be below. Go and check them out, guys. And now back to the video you came here to watch. Okay, guys, welcome back to another video. And as you'll notice, the setup is significantly different. I'm loving it. I think it looks pretty good. New camera, new lens, additional lighting. I've done some research. I've looked into how to do it properly. On that wall behind me, to kind of represent the next era, the stream platform era, we're gonna have movie posters. So there's gonna be posters of, they're all from the same company, so it's all congruent, but there's gonna be, you know, framed sizable movie posters all around this office to remind me what we're trying to restore, which is masculine media. So that's gonna be kind of fun. But for the purpose of this video, guys, a lot of people keep asking me, are you ever gonna make videos for kind of younger guys, you know, like teens and stuff like that, and you know, what we should do in life, what we should do in terms of, you know, what steps should we take at a young age? Like, what would you do if you were thrown back to that age? So that's what this video is going to be about. What I would do if I were 18 years old again. And the easiest place to start, okay, is where I think I fucked up. So I think I fucked up when I was young, where my ego was too big and I was too proud to get a 9-to-5 job. When people said to me, why don't you just go and get a 9-to-5 job, like the entrepreneurship thing, like you can figure that out at a later date, you can figure that out along the way. You know, I saw it as failure. I saw it as, yeah, but I want to be rich now. I don't want to be 25 years old in a 9-to-5 job struggling, some fat old bald guy. That was kind of my mentality. And I wouldn't do anything that I couldn't do quickly, which sucked. You know, it's a mindset that I don't have today. Obviously, I have a lot more patience. But I would, you know, anything that, oh, it's going to take a year. It's going to take 6 months. I'd be like, oh, that's going to take forever. You know, I don't want to be broke for another year. And I think that's number one. This is one thing that you guys need to get, you know, into your brains early on. Is that 18 years old or anything around that is so young. Like, up to 25, you're a baby. Okay, like, I'm 30 years old now and I've only just started my dream job, which is my streaming platform. A lot of people think it's going to be like a launch, like a Netflix style launch. We're going to have 10,000 shows on there. We're going to throw 10 million at it. So I don't have that level of money and that's not going to happen. It's very likely going to be 10 years of me chipping away, enjoying myself along the way, you know, having tons of fun and just traveling the world. And then eventually it gets to a point where one day you wake up and you go, shit, we're pretty big. We've actually exploded. Like, this is crazy. Like, this platform's actually massive. And this will sound nuts to you guys, but I'll likely be in my late 30s, 40 years old, and I won't feel old. That's the thing. Like, a lot of people think that 30's old. I'm telling you right now, it's not. It's the best results I've ever had in my life, in all areas of life. So, with money, with women, with success, with who you are as a man, with my ability to box, lift weights, like everything's at its peak now. And it feels pretty fucking amazing, truth be told. So with things like TRT, stem cells, a healthy lifestyle, I drink significantly less every single year that passes. I go out significantly less with every year that passes. And I mean, like, I'll go out to restaurants, I'll go out to, you know, I'll do more, but I mean, in terms of like going out, staying out late, partying, clubbing, all that stuff, significantly less. My health routine is stronger every year. My skin routine is stronger every year. I feel like I've de-aged and got better every year since I was like 23, 24. So, like, and you guys have seen the old pictures. So with that being said, why would that change leading up to 40? If I'm going to add in stuff like private healthcare, if I'm going to add in things like stem cells and probably TRT and whatever else, you know, and instead of doing my skincare myself, go into a professional clinic and then getting some some IV drips put into my body once a week, like, why would I feel worse? Why would I age? Why would my energy be lower? If anything, it would be higher. That's why I wanted to make a separate video on this, but I didn't think it would be that entertaining. It might be a good video for the streaming platform, which is what I've started doing a lot more now. I'm like, okay, it's going to cost about $2,000 to film, put it on the platform. Makes sense. You know, if it's going to cost a lot, then it needs to be behind a paywall. I think that's logical. But the idea that I had was that most guys in Hollywoods end up getting better in their 30s and 40s, male advantage journeys, than they were in their teens and 20s. And I've kind of realized that every guy in Hollywood is probably taking TRT at a certain point. So it's very likely that that's the reason that they got better and then stayed there. And they were better than ever because of it. So it's almost like, as a man, as long as you've got that staying power, and I've discussed this with multiple people lately, who are roughly the same age as me, if you've got that staying power, you can rock this shit to your like fucking mid-50s. You know, 60, I see people starting to get old and they have to put some things in place. But 50, mid-50s, you can still rock that shit. You can still look half decent. So it's like you've got so much time available. So now we bring it back to being 18 years old. So you guys need patience. First things first, you guys need patience. You need to relax. You don't need to be successful tomorrow. This is what's fucking a lot of you up. You're not planning for the long term. You're not planning for the future. As I did. I was the same. I was exactly the same as you. So for me saying this to you now, it's not, oh, maybe I'm just more ambitious than Chris was. Maybe no, like, this is me coming for, like, I was described as a dog off a leash when I was younger by my mentor. He was like, all you need to do is like direct you in the right direction and then use that energy to sprint in that direction. He was like, but without it, you're a dog off a leash. He was like, you just go everywhere. A lot of you have got that, where you're like, I'm going to get into crypto. I'm going to do this idea. I'm going to do that idea. I'm going to do fucking everything. It's just not helping you. You need to become a lot calmer, a lot more focused. You need to lock it in. I'll give you a great example. You look at somebody like 1STMAN Gadzi. He's what, 23 years old? But he gives the aura of somebody who's in his mid-30s, early 40s. That's how he's able to hang out with all these high-value men and hold his own. He's very relaxed. Like, he likes the quiet life. I don't know what his parents were like, but I imagine they've taught him certain things and certain ways to live. But he has a very, you know, like a continental 30-year-old man way of life and mindset. And I don't think that's by accident. You know, he's in the position he's in because of something like that. You know, and I need to make a separate video on this, but I do think the quicker you mature, the more likely you are to become successful. I think there's probably a direct correlation with that. You know, it's probably the same with women in terms of the quicker they mature, the better woman that they are, because they're going to settle down younger. They're going to have, you know, probably going to be married at like 24, 25 with a body count of 1 or 2. Like, that's pretty sought after. But as a man, I think the quicker you mature, the quicker you get out of that kind of, I'm going to go out and get drunk mindset, and I've got FOMO and I want success tomorrow. Once you get realistic about all this stuff and you go, I know what's going to benefit me. You start tapping into the progression bias, which is what I want today very likely won't be what I want in the future. The progression bias is actually the opposite. But, you know, that's the mindset I want you guys to have. What I want today, the things that I really desire today, I very likely won't want at 30 years old. I'll likely want a completely different life. So once you can deploy that mindset, you can begin. Okay, so I needed to teach you guys that first. So if I were 18 again, and the reason I came up with this discussion is because when I was in, so, you know, you guys know Jack, the CEO of Testosterone. He's got his own men's group. Okay, you've got to pay to be in that group. I'm in that group. We have great discussions in there. I encourage you guys to join. I'll put the link below if I can find it. If not, I'm going to bring Jack on. We're going to do a Q&A. We're going to go through it all. He's going to talk about the group, the future of that group, and certain things that we're going to do. So keep an eye out for that, guys. But I'm in that group. It allows you to talk directly to me if I'm not too busy, but it gives you a 10 times higher chance of talking to me than you would on any other platform. So, you know, we'll set up an affiliate link through that. I believe I do have a link, so I'll try and put that below before this video. If I don't, then, you know, if you sign up, Jack gets paid anyway, so I'm not, you know, I'm not too fussed. But we'll sort something out in the future. But within that group, somebody asked me, if you were my age, and I think he was 21, it was like, if you were my age, what would you do? And it was interesting because, like I said, going back, I would get a job. I would go and get a 9 to 5 job. And strangely, and I didn't know this, and he didn't know that I said it, obviously, but strangely, without knowing, Hamza said the same thing, literally around the same time. Around the same time, he said literally the same thing. And this guy was like, oh, strange you've said that, because, you know, Hamza made a video on the exact same topic. And I was like, yeah, because once you get to a certain level, you realize how much quicker you could have done it if you had just, you know, sacrificed your ego. Like I said, if I could take myself back, let's say 18 years old, and I was like, I want to be a successful entrepreneur. I want to accomplish stuff in life. I've got no money. I've got no idea what I'm doing, but I've got ambition. And I think I'm better than everybody else because you're all in 9 to 5 jobs and you're not as ambitious as me. If I could stop myself and go, okay, just go and get any job. Go and work in a factory. Just go and do overtime, work weekends. You're 18. It doesn't matter. Like, play football on a weekend. Like, now and again, you have 1 or 2 beers and you get laid. Like, that's the only thing you're really interested in. So I would go and get a 9 to 5 job. I would get some money under my belt. I would get experience under my belt. I would be learning from top level professionals every single day, people who have got 20 years experience in the industry. I'd be trying to hang out with people who are older than me in the workplace after work, to grow my mindset. Because I did find this, that I was more mature naturally because of life events, people dying, dad leaving, you know, stuff like this. But I became slightly more immature in other areas because I was always on my own. I was always working on my business. So your social skills take a hit and stuff like that. So get out to the workplace, 18 years old to 25. 7 years, just if you can do it sooner, if you can do it at 16, great. But try and rack up as much money as possible. During those years, I truly believe you should be able to save about £100,000. Now, as Warren Buffett always said, all you need is that first 100,000. He was like, claw and scratch to get it, but all you need is that first 100,000. If I had had that 100,000 at 25, I wouldn't have then needed to go and get a job in sales and hustle and do what I should have been doing at 18 anyway. Because things went wrong, I had to go back to the drawing board and start again. So it probably cost me like fucking 7 years of my life not doing it in the right order. So that's what I would do if I were you guys. I would go and get a 9 to 5 job. And I would have no shame in jumping ship in these 9 to 5 jobs too. So if you started at a factory, they gave you a promotion, you were on 25,000 per year, and then, you know, you're living at home with parents, for example, you're saving all this money. And then you get another job offer and it's like 32,000 per year, and you go, fuck it, I'll take it. Just chase the money in the early days, because the money is what's going to matter, because the more of that you have, the more that you can, you know, leverage that. And at the end of the day, nobody's going to take your job experience seriously. So if you get to like 28 years old and you want to go for a very high level job, let's say 26 years old, you're trying to pitch yourself for a high level job in an interview, they're probably not going to worry about the first 6 jobs that you had. Like, I was in this factory, then this factory, then this factory, then I worked for this kind of, like, you don't even have to include them. Do you know what I mean? You can even just say, I was just trying to make money. I was just trying to get more and more money at a young age. So that's not going to matter. But you can keep jumping ship, going for the highest wages. Keep pushing for more money. Like, I always promote factory work because I think you can do overtime. You can work weekends. You can basically, obviously there's a cap, but you can basically earn more money from that job than most other jobs at a young age. So if you're 21 years old, chances of you having a good job is probably very, very slim. So you're probably only going to get paid from an entry-level job like 25,000 a year. In a factory, you could do 40 grand in a year. You know, you could do a little bit more, but you could probably do 40 grand in a year if you worked every single hour, every weekend, whatever. Which means by the time you do get to 25, or you could do it sooner, but by the time you do get to 25, you might even have 150,000 saved up. You might have 200,000 saved up. I don't know if the maths checks out on that one, but with a promotion or two, it might. So, you know, what you've got then is a lump sum. And as I've told you guys in the past, once you've got a lump sum, you can do something with it. You know, if you're getting paid 1,500 every single month, plus your bills and your tax, there's not a lot you can do. But if you've got a lump sum of 20,000, 50,000, 100,000, 150,000 is a game changer. You can make moves and make mistakes and it won't matter too much. But imagine, like you guys know, I put a small, you know, less than 10,000 I put into Solana and it paid off. I wouldn't have had the balls to do this, like 100 grand. But imagine, like, I probably would have had the balls to put 20 grand in. Okay, which means that I would have made roughly about triple what I did make, which is a significant amount of money. And if I had put like 50 grand in, which I don't know if I would have had the balls to do, if I had only had 100,000, but that would have taken me pretty far. Do you know what I mean? You would have been close to being a millionaire off that one singular thing, which is just quite a weapon. So that would be my plan. Any businesses you're looking to start, etc., kind of just put them on hold. Because now that I'm doing the stream platform, I'm meeting high-level people every single day. I'm dealing with people, successful high-level people who are a lot older than me. We're meeting clients every single day. We've got to set up projects. That level of professionalism I wouldn't have done at 18. I would have struggled. I've only been able to know what to do in those scenarios and how to speak to high-level people from working in finance jobs, for working for a hedge fund software company. You learn these skills from working with people who are worth millions, hundreds of millions and whatever. Like, I've learned that from them. I've learned that from meeting with billionaire clients. We only had one come in the office, but I've learned that from them. I worked opposite a guy who was worth 100 million on a daily basis for 2 years. So I picked up a lot of things. He was giving me a lot of tips. You go out for meals and drinks with these guys. Like, you start operating at their level. You guys need that experience. There's a stat, and I don't know the exact figure, but it's something like you're 80%, like it's not 80%, but you're 80% more likely to succeed in a business that you had a 9-to-5 job in first. So that's wildly important too. But I would probably go a little bit further and say you're probably more likely to succeed if you've worked for a high-level company. When you go and do your own business, because you've seen how it operates. I also think it's important to work for a company that's a smaller startup so that you get that one-to-one, but then also work in a bigger company so you see how that operates. So you can understand scales. You can understand how hard it is to run a giant company, chains of commands, kind of the span of the company and who's in control of what and how many chains of command a message needs to go through to get something done. But then in a smaller startup, how quick and agile they are and how conscious they are of the budget and stuff like that. Like, that's wildly important. So that's what I would do. And if you didn't want to start a business and you just wanted to achieve career success, well then, that's the easiest path in the book. Because all you got to do, like in the early days, I wanted to be an estate agent when I was 18. I walked into a local estate agent and said, like with an interview, I was like, I'll work for free. I'll do it voluntarily, like 2 days a week, Wednesdays and Saturdays. And at the end of that, I got a job offer. If I wanted to be, I didn't end up pursuing it because I wanted to do other things. But if I wanted to, I could have been an estate agent. By the age of 30, that would have been 12 years experience in the industry. Probably would have had like 200 grand saved up in my bank account. And I would have been in a pretty decent position in life. Like, maybe I would have gone onto YouTube and started doing the Ryan Serhant thing, selling homes in fucking Marbella or something, going on YouTube and just, look at this luxury house. You just don't know where it could have gone. But that's the easiest route. It's the easiest route because you all you have to do is just get in with the company and work your way up. Then you gain your experience and you just go from there. Like, that's even easier than, because the reason I talk about business a lot is because so many young guys want to start a business. They want to be like these guys they see on YouTube. They want to have their own shit. They see people like Iman Gadzi and Hamza and like Mike Thurston abroad living this life, and they're like, I want to live the same thing. I want a YouTube channel. I want some of that fame. I want some of those products. For some of you guys, it'd just be better to get a 9-to-5 job where you're getting paid 80,000 a year. Before the age of 30, that's fucking incredible. You're saving that money. You're diversifying your income. You're putting that into other things. And then at 31, you sit there and you go, do you know what? I want to start my own business. But you're in such a good position with a solid foundation. And I told you guys before about how it almost becomes easier with age to accomplish things. Like every single year I get older, it becomes easier to do things that used to be difficult. Remember when you used to play video games and you couldn't do it, you handed it to your brother, your older brother, or a friend who was older than you, and they'd do it in seconds. And that just comes from experience. That just comes from being a little bit older, thinking about things differently, you know, just getting better at life in general. And that will happen to you. So if you're in a 9 to 5 job for like 10 years and you feel like you're behind because there's a 23-year-old who's worth 80 million, you know, it's not that bad. Like, look at people like Dana White or Mark Cuban. Like, these guys were in their 30s before anything happened, and now they're richer than most people on planet Earth. So if you've got the prior experience, it can happen quickly. It can happen really quickly. It's like an exponential age thing. You might make a small amount of progress from like 18 to 28. But then from 28 to 30, you make astronomical leaps. And that's a game changer for you. So in terms of success, you know, having that lump sum, making smart investments, you know, and just getting on the big boy stage rather than having 100 grand over 7 years that you've put into going out, nights out, dates with your girlfriend, you know. So I'd be sacrificing all of that shit. You know, if I'd be sleeping with girls, but I wouldn't be having a relationship. I just don't see the point. You know, I just think it's a waste of time now that I'm older. Like, you can gain that experience on the other end 10 times quicker. Again, it's exponential. It's the same effect. It happens with everything. So I wouldn't be too worried. I'd be putting all my time and money into, you know, I'd be putting everything into trying to get capital, trying to get money, trying to look for opportunities, to seek business opportunities along the way, to learn new skills, to study crypto but not make an investment unless you're 100% comfortable. And then when you're in a position where you go, I know this well now, I'm going to put 10 grand into this coin. Okay, you made another 100,000. Now you've got 300,000 in your bank account. Like, you're a big player at the table. You can do some serious shit with that. And if that's as far as your ambition goes, and you just want to buy a house and a car outright, then, you know, you've won. So you're done. Do you know what I mean? Your life's going to be pretty easy for the rest of your life. Like, that's not the worst scenario in the world. But if I could go back to being 18, I would get a 9 to 5 job, and I'd grind at that shit for 7 years, knowing that 25 was not old. It was baby years. Fitness. So one of my main focus outside of that would be fitness. I'm kind of pissed off that I'm in shape now at 30, because, like, you know, those people that are like, women don't like guys who are muscular, guys who are like, shut up. Because myself, I was with Rob the other day, we had the same fucking discussion. Girls like guys who are in shape, okay? If you're a big muscular guy, like, girls like it. If you're down to a low body fat percentage, your face looks better, like, life's just better in general. You get more respect off men, you feel better about yourself, your testosterone is naturally higher. So I would, if I could go back to being 18, I would cut out alcohol, because I used to drink a lot, like 3-4 nights a week. I would clean up my diet, and I would start taking the gym seriously. I would focus on form. I would study, you know, the people in the industry like Rob, like Mike. I would be studying these guys nonstop, and I'd be like, how can I do it the correct way? I'd be staying away from fucking, you know, you get 18-year-olds now taking steroids to try and keep up, and it's like, you're 18, you don't need to. I would just be trying to boost my testosterone, live a healthy life, add some muscle to my frame. I'd start taking this shit really, really seriously and be tapping into those beginner gains as early as possible, so that when I did get to 25 and I had 100 grand in the bank account and a decent job that was paying me well, I would also have my perfect body. Because if you've had 7 years from 18 to 25, you're probably going to be big and lean if you've done it the right way, okay? And then that sets you up for getting, because once you get to like 25, for some reason your body just grows again. It happened to me. Once I got to 25, 26, I just got bigger naturally, and I was like, okay, something's happened. I don't know why. A lot of men told me it would happen, but my bone structure I think bone structure peaks in terms of size and density at 30, and peak strength's around about 30 as long as you train. So I just think that kind of kicked in. But yeah, I feel like the benefits I'm getting now and the way I look now, I could have done that years ago. Could have looked the same way. You know, could have stopped those shitty years where I fucked my life up and I looked like shit and I lost all my hair. And I do definitely put that down to like a poor lifestyle. Because I've always said, if you're bold and big and healthy looking, it kind of means that your testosterone was too high, that your hair fell out. Whereas if you're bold and skinny, fat, and you look like shit and your face is all puffy, it almost says that your testosterone was too low and there was a hormonal imbalance, and that's why you lost your hair. And there's two different looks. And I genuinely believe if I had just like not gone out, got drunk, like lived this crazy, stupid lifestyle, took care of myself better, I would have been way healthier. I probably would have had a full head of hair today. Obviously, I've got the SMP. The link's below if you want to see which guy I used. You'll see it. It's called Elixir. So you can contact him. Great guy. He's happy to help anybody. So you can use him. But yeah, that's what I would have done. I would have heavily gone into just fitness and trying to save that first 100K. That would have been my plan. Like I said, with women, I would have stayed away from them. I always think it's a good idea to build a social following. So I would have got stuck into that. I would have studied the game. I would have posted some format of content. I would have been, really stuck into my life setup and my framing because I just think it helps in general. But you don't have to have like a giant YouTube following. I'm just talking, on at least one platform, you should try and you might have 6,000 followers, on Instagram. You might have 10,000 on YouTube or something. It pays. It just helps to have. No, I'm not saying you could get paid from that. You do an ad revenue or something like that. Like that could help as a side hustle. I'm just saying having attention, having an audience, because when you do start your business, those people know who you are. They respect you. If you are, let's say, like I said, the real estate game that I was almost in at 18, if I got to 25 years old and I was like, do you know what? I want to bridge this over to YouTube now. And I already had like a following of like 8,000, but I'd never really taken it seriously. Or I had an Instagram following in the local area of like 4,000 people, 5,000 people. It gives you a starting base. So then when you start doing higher level production, it gives you an audience to begin with. It kind of speeds everything up. Like I remember when I quit my 9-to-5 job, I had 8,000 YouTube followers and I just went, right, okay, let's go with this. Let's just push this forwards. And then once you break 10, you're considered quite a big channel. It was a lot easier. Within a year, I think I had like 75, 80,000 followers. So it just gives you that option because whatever you're doing, whatever you're selling, whatever your product or business is, or if you're a 9-to-5 worker, but you're an estate agent or something where it pays to have a good social presence, it pays to have that kind of virtual handshake. Just having some level of social following just gives you that proof. So I would probably tackle that. But I also think life setup and framing is a skill within itself because it can get you laid. It can get you business opportunities. It can get your foot in the door in many different areas of life. So I just think it's a skill that everyone should practice. So that's what I would do. If I could go back to being 18, that's the areas that I would focus on. And like I said, guys, the quicker you can mature, the quicker you can get out of that bubble of chasing women, going out on a Friday and Saturday, getting as drunk as possible, wasting all your time just fucking on social media, just watching garbage TV, watching stuff like Love Island and whatever. The quicker you can get out of that, the more successful you will be, the better your life will be. And I promise you, if you got to 25, it'd be mad if you did this, but if you got to 25 and you were in top 1% shape, you had a social following of 10,000 people, you had 100 grand in your bank account, and you were currently in a decent, successful job, and you looked pretty good. If you went and got your own place and whatever, like your life is in one hell of a situation. Like one hell of a situation. Like you could just rent, but your life is in an unbelievable situation there. You could make so many smart investments. Like the world is your oyster at that point. And if you did then want to, like you were 25, you wanted to date like the most beautiful 20-year-old in the area, you probably could pull that off. You'd probably be in a position where like most guys wouldn't be on your level. So you could probably pull that off. But I would then probably more so play the longer game and be focused more on like my late 20s, early 30s, because being a 30-year-old man, I'm telling you, and being around other guys who are successful, who are roughly the same age as me, they've all said the same thing. Like up until 28, none of it matters. Up until 28, they're like, my life was shit. Nothing really happened. I've heard, like Rob has said that to me. I've heard Mike say that on videos. I was with David, who's How to Beast, the other day. He was saying the same shit. He was like, nothing really happened for me before that. Like my life's only just clicked now. It's a common trend, guys. So I wouldn't really, like I said, 25. You could probably push that to like 28. It just doesn't matter. Like life doesn't really click into gear until those ages. So that's what I would be doing if I was 18 again.